Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffy Kennedy, author of Epic Fantasy Romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. Well, today is, say it with me with as much enthusiasm as you can muster, it's Friday, um, November 8th, the end of a long week. um, I knew on Monday when I said that hopefully the US election would turn out well, that there was a chance that I would be here sad on Friday. And sure enough, for the record, Trump was reelected. Um, yeah, and I was shocked. I saw somebody say that we need a word, perhaps a German word that comprises shocked and not shocked. Um, I am both shocked and not shocked. Um, yeah, and so I was tempted not to record a podcast today because I have, I mean, it's been hard. I'm seriously worried about the future of the country. I'm, um, yeah, there are a lot of things to be worried about. However, I'm going to try to focus on some positive things today, uh, telling you about some of the things that have been helping me get through. And by that, I hope that you know that I'm not downplaying anything that the seriousness of the situation we face. I saw this that my cousin posted actually. Um, that was, and I should have looked up how to pronounce this. Thich Nhat Hanh, I suppose, said this. It looks like a Buddhist monk. It's not accredited very well, but the quote is, "Someone asked me, 'Aren't you worried about the state of the world?' I allowed myself to breathe, and then I said, 'It is most important. What is most important is not to allow your anxiety about what happens in the world to fill your heart. If your heart is filled with anxiety, you will get sick and you will not be able to help.'" And I think that's a big piece of it. That's what I'm trying to do. I am trying to live in the moment. The moment is all we really have. And David was talking to me about this a little bit this morning, saying that that he was thinking about like how would Lao Tzu have handled a situation like this, and I think it's a very apt um, question because uh, Lao Tzu lived through a very oppressive, dangerous, violent time in Chinese history, and that is one thing that we have to keep in mind is that things goes around comes around, and we live in a politically unstable world. The outcome of this election is not that surprising because um, there have been votes all over the world that have been throwing out incumbent presidencies following the pandemic. People are not always smart about how they ascribe blame or what they hope for. I have a cat down here playing. Focusing on the cats has been helpful. The cats and the dog. Um, it's been interesting here in Santa Fe because on Wednesday mid morning it began to snow. And it was predicted. It had been predicted for like a week, which is never a good sign. It means that it's a very slow moving, big storm. And indeed it was. And we have gotten so much snow, so much, most snow that we've had since I have lived here. It is just incredibly deep. I don't know how much we got, but like in undisturbed places, it was certainly up to my knees. The good thing is it'll start to melt away here. But it's been a strange experience kind of being here with David and the animals and being very thoroughly snowed in. I walked up to the store yesterday afternoon, but it's added to the surreality of the whole situation. Um, so yeah, to go back to Taoism and One thing that I've been trying to do is, like I said, live in the moment, which is all we have, not to catastrophize. If things turn out badly, if things go as badly as we are afraid that they may go, then there will be time enough for us to suffer then. Right now, we're still in a good place, right? Right now, we are still. Everybody we have is safe, and we are still have our health insurance and all of these good things. So we don't want to lose this time that we have when we're still feeling like things are, the bad stuff hasn't come yet, right? Not to uh, borrow trouble from the future, because the future will come no matter what, but we'll we'll get through it, right? Because the option is not to, right? And we need to be here to help. One thing that Lao Tzu really emphasizes, the philosophy of Taoism, is that you work to make your little corner of the world good. You work to make your life good, to make the lives of the people you love good, to make the lives of your neighbors good. Um, Taking on the entire world is a big project, but we can spread love and light in our own spaces, right? And not give in to the hatred. So one of the things I want to talk about is that immediately following the election, social media was flooded with the gleeful Trump supporters, the Project 2025 supporters, the incels, the trolls. And I think one thing to keep in mind is that very likely this election was helped along by foreign interests who want to bring about a, a fascist regime in America. Um, they have been trolling through social media. Um, Apparently, there was a whole lot of misinformation on social media, like there was in 2016. Guardrails were off again, and I've been seeing crazy things that some of the people who voted for Trump believe. And it's bizarre and amazing, but there it is. Um, the numbers, we were not wrong that fewer people supported Trump this time around. Um, 2 million fewer people voted for Trump this time than in 2020. 2 million is a lot of people. Unfortunately, 13 million people did not vote the Democratic ticket compared to 2020. And that is why Kamala lost the election. And we could really go into a whole lot of things about why, um, but they didn't go vote for Trump, but they didn't vote for a black woman either. Um, and apparently, people were a lot more worried about inflation than I realized. So, the thing to keep in mind with these trolls is that they are very likely, they put on a white face and, put a town like in Texas, but they're almost certainly some sort of Russian operatives, or other operatives. And their entire goal is to undermine our spirits. They are capitalizing, they were ready, they are capitalizing on our despondency over losing the election, and they want to knock us down while we're already low. That it's classic technique, right? We were surprised, we were upset, and now they're hitting and hitting and hitting. Even the ones who are American, alt-right, right-wing, white Christian nationalists, what have you, who are really who they say they are on social media, They are also hammering away to try to kick us while we're down so that we will not fight. And I think what's really important is that Trump may wish to become a dictator. He may wish to eliminate democracy in the US. Uh, it's hard to say if he will succeed, but we don't have to capitulate. We don't have to knuckle under and hand it to him. There are still far more of us who do not support Trump and his plans than there are of people who do. The difference is they are very loudly hammering at us. So we have to hammer back. And I know it can be difficult with hammering away at love and positivity, not the same way as hate, but that's the assignment, people. We thought we had completed the assignment. Well, now we have a new assignment. I was very excited to not think about politics for 4 more years, and now we don't get to. Uh, but such are the times that we live in. Um, the other thing, I wanted to tell you all a little story. And this is not something I've really talked about a whole lot more or a whole lot before. Uh, but when I was president, when I first became president of SIFWA, one of the very first things that happened, as has happened to every president before me, is the trolls began targeting me. And I don't know how much I talked about that, but they would hit me up on social media and say really mean things to me. They would comment on this podcast and they would say things like, oh, that I have a high forehead. They would say that I have a high forehead, which I'd always heard was a sign of intelligence, and I didn't understand why that was supposed to be a bad thing. They would draw caricatures of me, um, and they would just say generally hateful things in an attempt to hurt me, I suppose. And I didn't talk about it very much because I've always thought that the best way to deal with a bully is to not give them any attention. I didn't look at the stuff. They tried to send me things. They tried to get me to look at things. I didn't care. I didn't look. Other people were surprised. They were like, I don't know how you can not look. Aren't you curious? And it's like, no, that's how I protect myself, is by not looking. They want me to look, so I do not look. And that is the same thing with what these trolls are doing now. The one that's really upset a lot of people, and understandably so, because it's upsetting, which is why they're doing it, is like there's some 26-year-old influencer, incel, radicalizing young men who put a video where he just shouted, "Your body, my choice." And apparently the boys in schools have been saying that to the girls, your body, my choice. And yeah, it's a heinous thing to say. And I saw a thing where a guy was carrying a sign saying women are property. And it's like, yeah, they think that this is the solution, that this is how they're going to get women. I saw another guy say, women back to the kitchen. I mean, these things have not changed, right? They all say the same shit. And that's one of the things that really struck me when the SIFWA trolls first started hitting me was that these sounded like the insults that 10 or 12-year-old boys would hurl. And I mentioned it to some of the past presidents who had been hit up, and they're like, yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like, because mentally that's where they are. I remember being in like 5th grade, and in the playground, the boys would bark at me. They would like get together in a little pack and bark at me, which I presumed, actually, I was confused by it. Wasn't sure, like, why are they barking at me? And I thought maybe it was meant to convey that they thought I was a dog, which then was slang for ugly, right? You'd say a girl was a dog, like not. Now they're saying things like a high value woman. Um, and and it was really funny because well, like, first of all, I didn't understand why them barking at me was supposed to upset me, or whether or not they thought I was a dog, because I was like 10 and I didn't really care. But also, it was this weird thing that we've, like sort of been treated to all our lives. If you're assigned female at birth, is, like the boys will be boys. And if they're bullying you, if they're making fun of you, if they're teasing you, it's because they like you. So it's like these boys liked me, but they barked at me to convey that I was a dog. It's all very confusing, and that's because it makes no sense. We're trying to make sense of a thing that makes no sense, and it's exactly the same. That's why, like, these guys love to find saying like "your body, my choice," and apparently this guy, and I'm not going to say his name because if you really want to know, you can message me, but I don't want to give him any press. But, like, apparently he just sits there and shouts it over and over again, like, which is another tactic, right? If they say things enough times and loudly enough, that somehow makes it true. And it's like, no. it's, uh, One thing that I've appreciated that people have shared with all of this stuff about, like telling women they have to, this whole Christian thing of telling women they have to be submissive to men, and that it's, God's plan and the natural way and all of this. And it's like, well, if that was the natural way, they wouldn't have to keep hammering at us about it, right? If that was what we really wanted, if that was our natural thing, that's what we would be doing. And it's not true. And, and the thing to remember is these guys that are doing this are incredibly insecure, right? They want to eliminate half the world's population from competition so that they can maybe do a little bit better. And boy, that's telling on yourself, isn't it? Something else that I saw that was helpful to me was uh, someone else pointed out, actually, it was her husband who said, we're not locked in here with them. They're locked in here with us, right? There are more of us than there are of them. And they're, that's why they're, fighting really hard. They are scared. They've always been scared. They're scared and angry, and that's why they voted for this guy that they think is going to be their champion, which we all know that he's not, right? Trump never has cared about anyone but himself, maybe his close family, but he's not going to do anything for these folks. And yeah, they have been emboldened. They feel validated, just like in 2016. Um, I think we got complacent. We thought that they had, been put in their place and they were just sleeping in the woodwork like a bad virus or, um, oh, I can't think of the name of the insect that I want. Termites. Termites that like lay their eggs in the walls and then come out spontaneously. Um, but these are their weapons, right? Right now, that none of these people are in charge, right? They don't have any power. They're laying the groundwork for power, and laying the groundwork is to cause us fear and anxiety. So I know it's hard. I mean, we're all feeling it, but don't let these dipshits. I mean, this guy is 26 years old. He's a dipshit. He's an internet influencer, and he is having influence by making a video and shouting at the screen and upsetting people. Don't let him upset you. Do your best. Look to the good people in your life. Um, we are all still here. Nobody has gone away since Tuesday. We're all still here. The support systems are still here. Uh, it's don't let this small pack of boys on the playground barking at you get in the way of you having your life, right? Live your life to the fullest. That's always been the best revenge. Uh, make your life good. Make the lives of your friends and family good. Make your community as good as it can be. And yeah, and we'll get through this. We've gotten through it before. We'll get to it again. So I will talk to you all on Monday. You all take care. Bye bye.